Ralf, you wanted a big improvement on the last two games. Did you get that?
Yes, I think so. It was, as expected, a very tough and difficult game against a team who played very physical and very direct. We knew that in advance. So the important part was that we met the physical demands and also the tactical demands. Whenever the ball was in their half, we did well. We also showed the qualities that we have in our team when it was important to score. In our half, we still have a few things to improve on, and we will work on that. But again, it was important today to raise the energy level. And physically and energetically, it was a good performance.
Did Scott McTominay personify that energy that you wanted?
Yes, of course. I mean, I was very happy that he could play. It was not. We only decided that this afternoon because of his ankle injury that he collected at the game at Newcastle. So it was good to have him in the team again.
Who else impressed you?
Well, I think it doesn't make sense to speak about individual players. The whole team performance was a lot better. As I said, it was important to meet the physical demands today. I was also pleased with the performance of our wingers. Jadon did well, especially after he scored. You could see that it lifted his confidence level. And the same with Mason. So and Eddie, the work ethic was amazing. Together with Cristiano, they did a good job against the ball. As I said, overall, it was a good performance.
Were you more direct tonight? It seemed to be David De Gea played the ball longer, more often tonight. Was that something that you purposely wanted?
Well, Burnley constantly tries to put you under pressure, so it makes sense to play the long ball on and off. Because whenever we played the square ball, too many square balls in the first half, we did that one or two times too often in the first half. You put yourself under pressure and cause problems for yourself, and therefore it was the right thing to do.
After the Newcastle game, a few questions were raised by some about the team spirit. Players arguing with each other. Is that something you felt in any way a need to address?
No, definitely not today. But of course, it always has to do with the chronology of the game. I mean, when you're after 7 minutes at Newcastle 1-0 down against a counter-attacking team, it doesn't make things any easier. And today we went 1-2, 3-0 ahead. So it was easier for us with regard to the way that the game developed.
This win takes you now 4 points behind Arsenal in fourth with a game in hand. So is fourth the minimum?
Well, I wouldn't say it's the minimum. The other three teams are at the moment too far ahead. Yeah. For us, it's about taking next development steps. And therefore, it was important to win this game today. Now we've got 8 games in a row without a defeat. And since I arrived, we have 3 wins and 1 draw, which is okay. We've got enough points. And it's about taking next steps. So the next game is coming up on the 3rd against Wolves, another not easy team to play. And again, it's about taking next steps.
Well, a final point to talk about next steps. The January transfer window opens. Will there be arrivals? Are you targeting players?
Well, my focus is on the current players, and as I said, we have enough players in the squad, so there is no lack of number of players. And transfer window in the winter, transfers in the winter only make sense if they really help you, if they increase the quality. And so far, we haven't spoken about that. My focus in the last couple of weeks was on the current squad.
Thank you, Ralf.
Thank you.
Happy New Year.
Thank you. Same to you. Thank you.
Jadon Sancho was a key architect behind the second. Although, much to his disappointment, he won't be credited with this one, will he?
No, to be fair, Michael called it straight away. And I thought it was going in. But, Michael knows better than I'd have been. A great striker that he was. And you kind of felt for him. He wasn't involved in a lot of the game. But when he gets in these positions, he frightens you. He really, really does. And as I said, he's been very, very quiet. He's played on the left volley. He's played on the right volley. I prefer him on the right like he was at Dortmund. But if he's got space and he's running at people, then he could do things like this. Me, to be fair, a little bit unlucky. Normally, he would have thrown himself at the ball. This is what I'm talking about, Sean Dyche's teams. Not throwing their bodies on the line. And before they know it, they're 2-0 down.
Yeah, he's... no question he's got a lot of quality. And if he was the only person that was playing flat and not playing at his best, then I'd be very worried. As it is, the whole team are not playing well at the moment. But he needs to really up his game. He's been here half a season now.
Did he disappoint you tonight?
Yeah, I thought he was poor again. I thought he was poor against Newcastle. I thought he was poor again tonight. Obviously, he's had a hand in that goal. But even that goal, it was a bit of a weak ball. It was nothing,
You're saying he didn't have to do much.
He's not beating play. He's not running at players. He's not, running with the ball and committing play. He's not doing what we've seen for a long time at Dortmund. And I used to watch him a lot at Manchester City in the youth team as well. He was unbelievable. So I always knew he was going to be. He's just not shown himself.
Just looking at it from the outside in, do you think inside that Carrington that he's getting people saying you can do this? That giving them the belief that we used to have when we were young kids. I don't sense that. I think it's like each to their own, Michael. Even when I was at United as a young kid, I had Brian Robson and Mark Hughes saying, "Yeah, you can do this. You can believe in yourself." Just the encouragement.
Yeah.
Is he getting that because he's been there for half a season? He's spot on, and I'm not seeing any progress whatsoever.
No, and that's why I would be. I wouldn't be condemning him straight away. I wouldn't be saying, not a good sign, because I know there's a player in there. In fact, I know there's a lot more to come from all of those players out there. You cannot sit there and watch that Manchester United team and think, oh, yeah, that's them at full throttle. They're playing, out there at all for a long, long time. So, as I say, he's got so much more to come, but he is that type of player that needs to be committed, needs to be the game changer, the difference maker, and he's just not doing it at the moment.
But Paul is right to point something out in the background, perhaps, because the drop-off from his days in the Bundesliga is quite dramatic.
Yeah, but how often do you see it? The best thing you can do as a youngster is to come into a winning team. How easy is it for a Ryan Giggs to come in alongside him and Roy Keane and Brian Robson? I mean, it's impossible not to play well when you're getting fed the ball all the time. When you come into a team that's struggling, the expectation, everyone's under pressure, you're not flourishing, it's virtually impossible. I don't care how good. I don't care if you're Ronaldo. He won't play as well when you're coming into that environment. So it's about, it's very, very difficult. It's it's a team game, this one. And you need your teammates to bring the best out of you. And Manchester United, as I say, I don't care who comes into this team at the moment. They're also going to be, tarred with that brush, that's something just not working at the moment.
Speaking of Ronaldo, he got United's third, but only after good work from Scott McTominay.
Yeah, I mean, Scott McTominay, as we said, he was the star man by a mile tonight. I mean, I think everybody watching it would agree that he was the man of the match by some distance. Again, lovely strike there and great save. And I mentioned at half-time that it looks an easy finish. It is an easy finish if you choose the right finish. And a lot of people there will try to smack it into the back of the net. And you don't need to smack it, you need to take the pace off, because that negates any chance of the ball going over the bar. When you kill the pace, it can't go over the bar, and that's your only danger in that situation. But again, Burnley left a lot to be desired with the way they defended.
Yeah, they did. And you talk about another midfield player, Cork. These are meant to be, the mainstays in your side. They're the ones who are meant to be, blocking shots and putting their bodies, and they didn't. And they made it easy for mate. This was a game that United could have easily lost. They were bang under pressure after the Newcastle result. And, I fancy this was a game they could have lost. But looking at the first 5-10 minutes, I thought, hang about, this could be a difficult game for United. Once they got the first goal. And Sean Dyche will look at that tomorrow, and he'll look at that and he'll say, Westwood, Cork, not good enough. Because my team's built on formation, strategy, putting your body on the line, desire. Couldn't sit for none of them today. It was an easy game for United.
But the one thing Ralf Rangnick, his opposite number, would have wanted to see is more fluency, more cohesion in the final third. And staying with Ronaldo, we saw against Newcastle minimum touches in the opposition box. Have a look at this. He only had 2 at St James's Park. That on the left side of your picture. Today against Burnley, Michael, 14. Now, how much of that is down to having Cavani next to him? Or how much is it just working on the instructions of his interim head coach?
Well, I think they're playing they're playing at home for starters, and that, naturally gives you more of the ball. Cavani playing must have been a help, although Cavani was quite quiet today, I thought. The team played better. They were awful against Newcastle. They played all right tonight. So all those things into the mix means he's going to have touches in better areas, and that's where, of course, you need him having touches in those types of areas. He got his goal. He missed a couple of chances, actually. The first chance he missed early on. Yeah.
He got a frustrated figure, didn't he?
He did,
didn't he?
Yeah, he wasn't quite on it, was he? And it's one of those things, though, and this is how good a player he is. When he misses a chance that's not that easy, it's almost like, wow, he is normal. It was a chance that you normally expect him to bury. But, I mean, he's on the score sheet. He'll be happy.
And you've got to remember, Burnley, a team that naturally play deep.
Yeah.
So you're going to get more touches in the final third. So I mean, let's not get... I kind of see it as a pattern to when Ollie was first took over, and they had this easy fixture list when I was playing Cardiff and teams like that, and they weren't playing well, but they were winning games. You know, and the only games that really matter for me is when they play the top 4 or 5. That's how you can always judge Man United, not by Burnleys or Palaces. Yes, you've got to win their games. Yes, we want to get into 4th in the Champions League. But let's not try and make it that we're progressing that quickly, because I don't think we are. And based on that performance, and the Norwich, and the Newcastle, you know, we're miles away from the top 3 or 4, miles away. And if it takes, I don't know, it's going to take more money, because I look at those players and I said to myself, if I was to choose the best Premier League 11 now, would one of those Man United players be in that 11?
No way.
Not even Ronaldo? No. OK, well, look, if Ralf Rangnick was frustrated and didn't hold back after the draw against Newcastle on Monday, how's he feeling today? We can hear from him now. What do you make of his summary there?
A bit confused, you know, obviously, looking at Michael's face.
He said everyone played magnificent.
Great. Listen, I can understand with the younger players, Sancho, Greenwood, the last thing you want to do is have your manager criticise you on the TV, but to say this and Cavani was outstanding, I'm not sure what game he watched. But that's what managers do to that. Managers do go on TV and say things, but deep down they know.
Yeah, but it's small steps at the end of the day, isn't it? It's a step in the right direction, maybe. He's just trying to keep their morale, their confidence levels up.
Listen, even if you're not playing well as a manager, and I've been there, you know, if you're picking up points, it builds bits of confidence. And that's what he's doing. He can't go on the team and say, we've been this and been that, because they got so much criticism from last week against Newcastle. They haven't got the mentality of those players and the strength of character to take criticism, OK? And that's why you see people throw their hands up and walk off the pitch. So for him as a manager, he's got to recognise those players can't be like a Sir Alex Ferguson or Pep or Klopp, who can demand and get into their faces. He's got to come out and say the right things. So when the players go, oh, yeah, great, I thought I did well, that's what he's trying to do. He's there for 4 months as it stands, but small steps, that was another small step, but that was like a little kiddie step for me, because it wasn't a great performance, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I mean, it was far better than Newcastle, and it was fine. It was an OK performance. But, you know, if we're talking... What are we talking about here? We're talking about Manchester United, what they've been for the last few years. Well, it was pretty standard stuff, but surely Manchester United's objective is to mix it with the big boys, because they're one of the big boys. And if you're talking about, are they playing at the same level as the, you know, Cities and Liverpools and Chelseas, they're a mile off.
Well, let's have a look at those moments where you feel they could have been better and where you feel there's room for improvement.
Well, yeah. I mean, it all encapsulates into one here, Manish. These are some of the moments. Paul showed a few against Newcastle before the game, and this is, again, I mean, there's options going forward all the time, and it's either you take the easy options, or, you know, or you give the ball away, or it's sloppy. Again, here, you know, take risks. You know, there's big areas to hit. OK, if you're not going to take the risk, then keep progressing and keep progressing up the pitch. But it's almost like they refuse every difficult ball and then every standard ball to go backwards. Again, there's players in good positions, forward positions, and all of it. I mean, what is that? You know, it's just like, how do you see that? Or is it just a miss kick? Or all the players that are in front of you, loads of players in front of you, you've got so many options. So I'll kick it to not even to a player. It's quite staggering, some of the decisions that are being made at the moment. Wan-Bissaka here just to finish it up. Right, he does well. Can he knock it down the line? No, he wants to go back again. And then, all right, go back to the keeper. Oh, no, I'll kick it out of play. It's just, you know, as I say, these things are just not what you'd expect to see from Manchester United players. We saw lots of it in the Newcastle game. We've seen a bit of it tonight again. Listen, they will improve, they will get better. The manager, you know, will help with that. But at the minute, they are quite a way off.
On the plus point, they're unbeaten in Ralf Rangnick's first 4 league games, 5 in all competitions, of course, if you take into account the Champions League. And looking at the fixtures heading into 2022, Paul, they still remain, on the whole, pretty favourable. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so, definitely. Listen, you know, Wolves will be a different proposition than what we saw tonight, and so Aston Villa under Stevie G. But if you're Man United, then you can just improve that 25%. You'll be looking at those fixtures and thinking, we don't play Man City too much. You know, all those games are winnable. So, you know, listen, can they get to top 4? Looking at those fixtures, yes, I think they can. Maybe top 3, but no more than that. But They've got to play better because teams like Wolves and Villa think, oh, well, United are flying, you know, they're good teams and they won't be as bad as what Burnley were tonight.
We said before the game, Ralf Rangnick couldn't have handpicked fixtures better. What he's already played and then that set of fixtures, I mean, it's just the perfect start, as Paul says, just to keep building the performance, keep building the confidence before you play the big boys.
Before those games, very briefly, he's got the January transfer window to negotiate, which is vital, isn't it, in their bid for a top 4 finish? What does he do with Cavani? What does he do with Pogba? Do they move on in January? Does he make room for others?
I'd be very surprised in January. I mean, Pogba's out injured, so, I mean, they're not going to sell him. Cavani, they're going to need him till the... And then maybe in the summer they'll do something. Looks like Martial could go, but if he does, I don't think there's a massive, urge to replace him. They've got lots of different options up there, so I don't think there'll be much done in the January transfer window, personally. It's very, very difficult to get a top player available.
Sean, was 3-1 tough on you?
Well, kind of. It's we've been here a number of times. We've had a couple of big results here, and we haven't had nowhere near the amount of ball, nowhere near the chance we've had on tonight's game. The frustrating thing for me, we could have made 2 blocks on the edge of the box and we didn't. They react to one of them and get a goal. And, it's hard, obviously, when you're at Old Trafford and they're 3-0 up. But I thought the mentality was firm and I thought the second half we took the game on to still try and get something from it.
Was the 18-day break a factor in some of that sloppy play, you might say, early on? Or is that just making an excuse?
Oh, no, I don't think so. I was quite pleased with the performance, actually, generally. So I don't think the 18 days, one of them things. We have to deal with what we have to deal with. We're a little bit stretched with COVID and injuries, but we've got a team that can go out there. And I thought there were some good performances. I thought Aaron Lennon was very good tonight. Played well, looked sharp, did what we wanted him to do. There's still some good performances, but the details are killing us at the minute.
Is that the frustration that with Aaron in that role, creating chances and space, that you just couldn't take them? You couldn't be more clinical?
Well, we had a number of chances, today, and like I say, we've been here before and not had that many. We've still won, but, we have created chances. We've kept the ball at times, and we've had a good feel at the game. But, the details are massive in this game, but particularly in the Premier League.
You're low on bodies, as you say. What's it looking like for the next week or so?
Well, hopefully, all right. We intend on getting on with things. We'll see, because a couple of bodies might come back, of course, because of the COVID situation and the way the protocols are. So we're hopeful they'll come back. Maxwell might get around with it around the squad. We'll have to wait and see.
You've never had this few wins at this stage of a Premier League season. You're in the bottom 3, but you've been in this situation before where you fought relegation. How do you evaluate things when you look at this
it's
season
tough, because at the
particular?
minute I'm talking about the details, and it's every week I'm talking about that. But a lot of the performance levels have been good. So it is their margins. Like I say, tonight we don't get 2 blocks on, which are vital. If we get them blocks on, then they don't score and the game's quite settled at that point. We started really well. We created chances. The mentality's firm. You can see that second half. We're still going right to the end. We still made 2 great chances right at the death for Tarky and Eric Peters. But them decisive moments are important and we're not finding them.
And we're into that period now almost. The window is open. Will you be able to do business?
We'll have to wait and see. The January window's always difficult, money or no money, so we'll have to wait and see.
Thank you, Sean.
Thank you.
Sean Dyche is optimistic as ever. 10 attempts on goal, 3 of which were on target. Was that a bit of rustiness from Burnley after 18 days of not playing?
No, I think Sean's, that was a fair assessment of what we see and what we thought. I think it's easy to blame, and we've seen it the last 2 weeks, managers blaming COVID and players being injured. No, he's spot on. We've got what we've got. We put a team out there. Yeah, they missed Barnsley. Yeah, they missed Rodriguez. But, most of that's probably first step, most of that 8% of their first team. And he's right. It's just the basics, the little basics that he expects from his team, or that block, or that body on the line, or, disorganisation. That's what he's on about, the detail. So he's not going to make excuses. Yeah, they played better second half, but I do worry for them.
You said before the game that you don't fear for Sean Dyche because they've been here before. Does today's performance change your mind at all?
Well, first half I was really worried because they were making mistakes that aren't Burnley-like. Yeah. Listen, I'm worried for them. I think they've got a chance of going down.
It's 1 goal in 4 games.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But if you were to ask me now, I would say that I'd prefer to be backing them to stay up than to go down. But they're in a relegation battle, no question about it.
OK. Time for a quick break on Matchday Live. And as today marked the final Premier League game of 2021...
Well, Joseph, what a party.
Yeah, it was a great victory for the players, the fans and everyone.
What do you think about your performance?
I think it was good, and each game it keeps getting better.
We need this match, no, with 3 goals.
Yeah, it was really great because we fought hard for this victory and everyone deserved to be happy.
Bueno, es el mejor partido de la temporada en lo que va de Liga, ¿no?
No sé si el mejor, pero sí el que hemos sabido jugar con el marcador a nuestro favor, que nos estaba costando mucho. Y sobre todo felices por ganar en casa, porque nos estaba costando muchísimo. Desde que hay público en el estadio solo habíamos ganado un partido de no sé cuántos. O sea que hoy el partido creo que era fundamental porque nos ponemos también a 3 puntos del Español, que es un rival directo, para alejarnos de abajo, para irnos tranquilos de vacaciones y pensar en lo que viene.
Con el partido contra el Valencia también nos ponemos por delante, pero el Chacho se quejaba, ¿no? Un poco que nos había faltado controlar el partido. Hoy es lo que tú dices, ¿no? Se ha conseguido.
Bueno, sobre todo hoy no hemos tenido errores individuales que nos pagaron contra el Valencia. Creo que es un partido para sacar conclusiones positivas. Hemos vuelto a ganar en casa, tenemos que hacernos fuertes aquí de lo que queda de temporada, porque fuera de casa sí el equipo está respondiendo bien y tenemos que seguir esta línea.
Cuéntame el gol, ¿no? Porque ha sido una jugada rápida, pero cuando te ha llegado ha sido como mucha pausa, las pican. ¿Cómo ha sido?
Bueno, recibo de Hugo, controlo y normalmente Diego López suele salir a tapar. Veo muchos partidos y Diego López en los 1 para 1 suele salir a tapar, entonces yo controlo y él no ve lo que voy a hacer, entonces intento picársela un poquito y cruzársela con tranquilidad.
¿Cómo ya tocaba?
Tocaba, pero ahora mismo sentimos una alegría inmensa, ya no solo por el partido, sino estamos trabajando como el que más, estamos en el día a día muy sacrificados, con los pies en la tierra, con humildad, y al final somos una piña y hoy nos lo merecíamos y se lo merecía también la afición, que pues mira, no estamos ganando, no nos están saliendo los partidos en casa y aún así la afición cree en nosotros, nos apoya y nos transmite el cariño día a día.
Eso te iba a decir, has dicho que sois una piña equipo, pero la afición también. Hemos visto ese momento tan bonito ahí en la esquina.
Sí, sabemos que le debemos mucho a esta afición, no solo de esta temporada, sino que por desgracia hemos vivido un par de temporadas muy jodidas, sobre todo a nivel mental, muy difíciles de sacar, y las hemos sacado esas temporadas gracias al apoyo de ellos. En otra situación, en otro equipo, la afición lo dejaría de lado, y aquí, cuanto peor iban las cosas, más estaban con uno y con el equipo. Y eso es de agradecer, y se lo agradeceremos hoy, mañana y en un futuro.
En lo personal, vuelves después de varias semanas que parecía que sí, pero al final no, 90 minutos con asistencia.
La verdad que bueno, no estoy al 100%, pero creo que he podido ayudar al equipo. Venía de mucho tiempo parado, unos problemas que no se me daban ido. Entrenaba, tenía que volver a parar, volví a aparecer, volví a parar. Bueno, espero que ahora sea el fin de esta lesión del carajo, porque ya estoy frito, y que pueda ayudar y contribuir al equipo.
Saca 2001, 2022...
por el 2022 a tope. Tenemos que seguir con los pies en la tierra, saber quiénes somos, de dónde venimos, y con esta afición, con el equipo, con el compañerismo y el sacrificio, no quiero ser pesado, pero creo que son las claves para mirar hacia adelante en un futuro.
Gracias, Hugo.
Gracias a vosotros.
Gracias, Hugo.